Mado name meaning is Marash, M-A, and Dondurma, D-O. The ice cream is 150 years ago, 100 in this city back in Turkey. They were making this ice cream by hand, cutting it with butcher cleavers.
For the goal for the ice cream has always been a little bit of how do we reinvent the idea of Portuguese kind of food to kind of bring it into a new light to get people more interested, taking the flavors that I grew up with that are nostalgic for me and presenting them in a much more accessible way in the form of an ice cream.
I'm Mary Mamalidi.
And I'm Jenny Arena.
And we're Bits and Bites.
I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. Whether it's ice cream, gelato, or any other incarnation of this cool treat, we enjoy it, particularly when we come across unique new twists on frosty classics. From playing with unconventional flavors to serving it up in a whole new way, our guest experts are giving us all the inside scoop on refreshing new ways to enjoy ice cream.
Here to give us the scoop on the new flavors of summer is William Oliveira from Mercado Negro. We're going to talk about the iconic Portuguese pastry and what you've turned into gelato. So tell us a little bit about what was the inspiration behind this.
So, in our trips to Portugal, well, not very recently, obviously, but in the past, it's always been kind of a growing thing of ice cream of different Portuguese flavors. And you'll see it here and there. And I've always had a little bit of an affinity with ice cream myself. So I thought, hey, why don't I try to do some of this like funky Portuguese ice cream stuff? And that kind of, when we thought about doing ice cream and we thought about the new project for the summer, doing Portuguese flavors seemed like the logical next step. And pastel de nata was kind of this unavoidable, like if you do one dessert in Portuguese cuisine, it's got to be that one because it's the one that like everyone associates with the Portuguese. It's the pastel de nata.
And it's one that I absolutely love.
Well, it's very lovable.
For people that don't know what it is, that is a Portuguese custard.
Yes.
Okay, so let's explain what it looks like a little bit for some that don't know.
A pastel de nata is a Portuguese custard tart. So it's in a flaky pastry. That's what everything's being contained in. And then it's just a traditionally made Portuguese custard. I believe the tradition behind how the custard is made varies just a little bit, but like it's not like your typical just sugar, eggs, milk. It does have a little bit more technique to it, but that's when you're making the actual custard tart. And then the big thing to note is that it's not flavored similar to how a French custard would be flavored with just like vanilla. It's a lot more of the Portuguese flavors of like cinnamon and lemon and all that kind of stuff. And of course, there are lots and lots of regional differences between all the different pastel de natas. And of course, you have the differences between the pastel de Belém, which is technically the original pastel de nata, but those get a lot more like complicated. At its core, it's just a custard tart in a flaky pastry bowl.
And it's got this beautiful kind of caramelization on top.
If it's done correctly, yes, it does.
So good. I was fortunate enough to actually go where they originated in Portugal because I was able to travel there when we were allowed to travel. And I was literally double fisting eating them.
They are very easy to eat. And if you've ever had a warm one, it just like the problem becomes even worse.
So, William, when we talk about how you guys have sort of recreated it into a gelato, can you explain that a little bit? Like, have you taken the flavors of the pastry and made them into an ice cream, or are you serving the ice cream as part of the tart? Explain it a little bit, please.
So the goal was always because, sometimes people are on a little bit of a diet or something and they still want a sweet treat or they just don't want the pastry shell. The pastry shell was always supposed to be that kind of idea of a presentation. But I personally wanted to make an ice cream that really tasted like a pastel nata as much as I physically could without anything else. So if you just had the ice cream in a cone or in a cup or something, you would still get that full experience without having it be reinforced by being served once again in that kind of pastry. So My goal was I take like an actual, like I infuse the buttery pastry into the ice cream. I infuse the similar flavors of the traditional Portuguese custard, like some cinnamon and some lemon, into the ice cream. And I kind of do my best to balance this all out in such a way that it reminds you of that kind of traditional pastel nata without anything else, just the ice cream. So that was
That
my
sounds
kind of
incredible.
approach.
That's incredible. I'm definitely going to have to get myself down there to try it.
You're more than welcome to.
So in terms of the idea behind it, I guess it was tied to, cultural preservation in terms of the food, right? Because you
Yes.
talk about how you're keeping the original and the integrity of the ingredients as well, right?
hmm So for the goal for the ice cream and the goal in general for our restaurants has always been a little bit of how do we reinvent the idea of Portuguese kind of food, not to kind of take away from any of the traditional qualities of that food, but to kind of bring it into a new light to get people more interested in what is a cuisine that might be slightly on the smaller side and maybe on the back burner for most people. We want people to look at Portuguese cuisine and be as interested in it as they are in something like Italian cuisine, which has a much more global presence. And in that way, we're trying to just kind of take the flavors that we love, that we grew up with, and kind of present them in new and interesting ways. So the ice cream was definitely all about taking the flavors that I grew up with, that I love, that are nostalgic for me from my childhood, and presenting them in a much more accessible way in the form of an ice cream.
Serving up sweet deliciousness one cone at a time is Enes Ozgor from Mado here in Toronto.
So, Enes, what you have become known for recently is fusing two beloved treats together, ice cream and baklava, to form this incredible new dessert. Can you let us know what inspired you to put these two together?
That's a really good question. In Turkey, there's a city called Marash, and this city has the best pistachio in the world, in my opinion. And also geographically, it has the unique, like specific features that made this baklava and ice cream possible. First thing, let's talk about the baklava. When you first bite the baklava, you're getting this sweet and crispy first texture. After you bite it and you chew a little, you are getting to the buttery, like croissant kind of buttery and dough taste. After that, pistachio kicks in. This mixture with pistachio, sugary, and the doughy, like buttery taste mixes a little, then you hit the heaven. Like this can't be right. This taste is flawless. It's about the pistachio, it's about the butter, it's about the dough, the texture.
So, where would you have thought of the idea to combine something so delicate as baklava with ice cream?
So in Marash, they have goats in the mountains, and these goats are eating a special plant. We call it salep. This plant also we are making a drink with it, and the taste is like vanilla, but also additionally a little sourness, a little saltness, and the smell is extraordinary. This flavor used in Marash ice cream. Dondurma means ice cream. It's just generic name in Turkey. When you buy it from a convenience store, the fridges from the fridges, it's the ice cream. It's the dondurma. Marash dondurma is made with goat milk. Mado ice cream, the plain ice cream I'm talking about, because we have 13, 14 flavors available, but the signature is a plain one. It doesn't have any air bubbles, any mixture artifacts in it. It's condensed, like heavy milk. And when you first eat it, you are getting this creamy, buttery, and salep, which is the plant. It gives this vanilla kind of taste, but it's much different. But this taste and smell, giving it this perfect natural taste. It's not so sweet. It's not sour. It's not like salty. But you can taste the saltiness in it. There is a little bit saltiness. So when you eat it with baklava, which is a little bit sweet, they are becoming the perfect match.
So would you say that they have a bit of a contrast in flavors?
Kind of. Ice cream getting the sweetness from the baklava away,
Mm-hmm.
and baklava is getting the fatty or
Salty
saltiness.
to kind of overpower the sugar a bit.
Absolutely. And then you're in heaven. Like first bite, I need to eat some. I gotta go back.
Okay, so that's the uniqueness of
Absolutely.
the ice cream. Now this is the dondurma. Am I saying that right?
Yeah. But you don't forget the marash. The other ice cream, the regular ice cream, and there's 3 types of it, as I know: gelato, sorbet, and frozen yogurt. The difference between these are made with much more processed ways. Like they're processing them a lot, and some of them, there's a lot of bubbles in it. Like they're making it a little puffy. It tastes good in some way, but it's not milk. It's just processed milk. And also the gelato. But gelato has this icy texture in it. But the Marash dondurma doesn't have that. It's like you are eating condensed milk, this buttery taste with this vanilla taste. And you're at the first lick or first bite, you're just realizing this is not gelato. This is something else. And that's the most different part from it. And also the processing part, the back in Turkey production, is it the same as the old methods, the 150 years ago? How are they making it? Right now, we are making it like it.
Our tasty takeaways from this episode: 1, you can't have too much of a good thing. Both of our guests demonstrated how successfully 2 desserts can be combined to create an even better one. And 2, that you can pretty much serve food out of just about anything. It's not the vessel, it's the unique flavors and creativity of the ice cream itself that leave a lasting impression. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe to Bits and Bites on your favorite podcast player and leave us a review and star rating. We'd like to thank our editor, Matt Agnew, and remind all of you to take a little time to chew, chat, and chuckle.
Every time you say chuckle, I just want to go, ha, ha, ha. I don't know why. Okay, go.